Have you ever wondered what the silence sounds like after a hurricane you created yourself? I stood there, watching her on our apartment balcony, her back to me, framed by the glittering Manhattan skyline. She was laughing into her phone, a light, carefree sound that used to be my favorite melody. But now, it was a knife twisting in my gut, because I knew who was on the other end of that call. The mystery wasn't if she was cheating, but how I was going to burn her world to the ground. If you want to hear more stories like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. It started subtly, as these things always do. We were perfect, or so I thought. 10 years together, married for 5. We were that couple, the ones our friends envied. I was a software architect. She was a rising star in a PR firm. We had the high-floor apartment near Central Park, the weekend trips to the Hamptons, the life we'd meticulously built. My world was Sarah. Every late night I worked, every sacrifice I made, was to see the smile on her face. Then, the smile started to fade, at least for me. It was replaced by a different kind of smile, one reserved for the glowing screen of her phone. She started working late, client dinners at trendy spots in Soho. She'd come home smelling of a different cologne, not mine, and dismiss my questions with a tired wave. "It's just work, Michael. You're being paranoid." The first real crack in my perfect world appeared on a Tuesday. I came home early, wanting to surprise her. I found her in the living room, her AirPods in, pacing back and forth. She didn't hear me come in. I heard her say, "I know. I miss you too. I can't wait to feel your hands on me again." Her voice was breathy, filled with a longing I hadn't heard in years. Then she laughed. He has no idea. So trusting. It's almost sad. My heart didn't just break. It atomized. I backed out of the apartment, my breath catching in my throat, and shut the door so quietly she never knew I was there. I walked the streets of New York for hours, the city lights blurring through my tears. Sad? No. I wasn't sad. I was a fool. And that fool died on the pavement somewhere between 57th and 5th Avenue. I went back home and played the part. As a loving, oblivious husband. Inside a cold, methodical machine was being built. The paranoia she accused me of became my greatest weapon. I started paying attention. The credit card statements showed lunches at Balthazar on days she claimed to be swamped with paperwork. Uber receipts for trips to a boutique hotel in the meatpacking district. One night she fell asleep on the couch, her phone unlocked on the coffee table. My hands shook as I picked it up. His name was Daniel, a senior partner at her firm. Smug, silver-haired, married. The texts were a screenplay of my personal hell. Pictures, promises, details of their encounters in our city, in our life. They even joked about my naivety. One text from him read, "Does he really think you're at spinning class 3 times a week?" Sarah's reply, "He believes whatever I tell him." Sweet but so predictable. Predictable, that word echoed in my skull. She saw my devotion as a weakness, my loyalty as a punchline. The emotional breakdown happened a week later. I was in the shower, the hot water doing nothing to warm the ice in my veins, and I just collapsed. I sat on the cold tile, sobbing. Not for the loss of her love, but for the utter humiliation. For the man I used to be. When the tears stopped, something new was there. Not sadness, not anger. It was purpose. A cold, clear, calculating purpose. The game changed. I was no longer the audience to her betrayal. I was the director of her downfall. My first move was quiet. I was a tech guy, after all. I set up a program to mirror her devices to a secure cloud server. Texts, emails, call logs, location data, everything. I even bought a new set of AirPods for her, a surprise gift. The old ones, the ones she used for her secret calls, I told her I'd recycle. Instead, I took them to a specialist. They were able to recover fragmented audio from the internal memory snippets of her conversations with Daniel, including the one I overheard. I now had her voice admitting everything. Legally, I started moving my assets. I consulted a shark of a divorce lawyer, a woman known for leaving her opponents with nothing but their pride, and sometimes not even that. We set up trusts, moved funds, and prepared an ironclad case based on infidelity and financial deception. She had been using our joint accounts to fund her affair, a detail that would not play well in court. The social trap was more delicate. Sarah's career was built on image and reputation. Her firm was preparing for a huge charity gala, an event she was organizing. It was her crowning achievement, a night where she would be celebrated in front of New York's elite. Daniel would be there. His wife would be there. All of Sarah's colleagues, clients, and our friends would be there. It was the perfect stage. In the weeks leading up to the gala, I became the perfect husband again. I was attentive, supportive, telling her how proud I was. She lapped it up, her arrogance blinding her. She and Daniel grew bolder, believing they were untouchable. They thought I was the predictable, sweet husband. They had no idea I was patiently weaving a web, and they were walking right into the center of it. The night of the gala arrived. It was held at a lavish ballroom in the Plaza Hotel. Sarah was radiant in a designer gown, the center of attention. She kissed me on the cheek as we walked in. "Smile, darling," she whispered. "We have to look the part." Oh, I smiled. It was the most genuine smile I'd had in months. I let her have her moment. I watched her give her speech, thanking everyone for their support, talking about integrity and trust. The hypocrisy was breathtaking. I let her mingle, laugh with Daniel, and accept congratulations. I waited until the main course was served, when the room was full and the doors were closed. Then I made my move. I had arranged with the event's tech crew for a hefty fee to switch the video feed. Sarah was planning to show a short film about the charity. Instead, as she stood by the stage beaming, the massive screens on either side of the room flickered to life. It started with text messages. God, hers and Daniel's, blown up for hundreds to see. Gasps rippled through the ballroom. I saw Daniel's face drain of color. His wife stared at the screen, then at him, her expression turning to stone. Then came the audio, my gift to her. Her own voice, recovered from the AirPods, filled the silent room. "He has no idea. He's so trusting, it's almost sad." Followed by her breathy promises to Daniel. The sound of her laughter, once my joy, was now her executioner's song. The screens then switched to bank statements, the hotel charges, the lavish gifts, all from our joint account. The final image was a picture of me, taken from my own phone just an hour before, with a simple caption, "Predictable?" Chaos erupted. Sarah stood frozen, her face a mask of horror. People were pointing, whispering, pulling out their phones. Her boss, the firm's CEO, was staring at her with pure fury. Daniel's wife slapped him across the face with a crack that echoed through the room and then walked out. Daniel, the smug partner, looked like a cornered animal before practically running for the exit. I didn't say a word. I just stood by the bar, took a sip of my water, and watched. I watched as her perfectly constructed world crumbled into dust around her. Security escorted her out, as the press, who I had anonymously tipped off, swarmed the entrance. The next day, she was fired. Daniel was fired. The story was everywhere. She was a pariah. The divorce was swift. The infidelity clause, backed by my mountain of evidence, meant she got nothing. Her reputation was annihilated. Her career was over. She lost her friends, her status, everything she valued more than me. I never saw her again, but I heard she moved back to her small hometown, broken and disgraced. I sold the apartment, quit my job, and left New York. Sometimes late at night, I pull up the security footage from outside the plaza on that evening. I watch her being shoved into a taxi, her face stained with tears, the flashbulbs of the cameras going off like tiny explosions, ending her world. And I just watch, feeling nothing at all. The end.